Let's talk herd.
And in your part of the world, you have a whole bunch of
Well,
other extraordinary breeds that are
yeah,
really fun.
in my experience, the most uh, complex horses emotionally are actually warm bloods, like the
Yes,
Oldenburgs and the Hanoverians. And I mean, it depends
Hanoverians,
on
yes.
their obviously individual temperament, but yeah, that my mare who I, I've been doing this work. I mean, we do it as a herd, but she's kind of the one who does the inviting me on. And she's an Oldenburg. And she's so human almost. The way that
Yeah.
she feels about things, she's so sensitive. And yeah, she's just, and I think that's partly just her, her individual self and her breed.
And I think part of that breed also is they have a huge heart.
Yes, yeah,
They give and give and give and give and give. And I think that's why they're very popular in certain competition
yeah,
worlds. They
yeah,
give a lot of themselves
yeah.
willingly, no
Yeah,
hold back.
and I feel like that life for her would have just been so stressful because yeah, I can't imagine her. But I remember when we went to the stud and that was the only way that we could take them. We would have obviously loved it if they could stay on their mothers and have a natural weaning, but that's not how they do it at these competition
Mhm.
yards. And at least they were 6 months and not 4 months, but I remember the man saying to me, to train them, you just have to put them in the mold, in the mold, in the mold. And I was just thinking, oh my God, that's the last, that's the last thing we'll be doing. Because I think they have to override
Mhm.
them from a very young age because they are very,
Mhm.
yeah, they're complex horses. And I think
Mhm.
unless you start very young and condition, you're going to have trouble later on. And I think that's what people kind of know that,
Yeah.
and they do that. But
And again, see, that's where that conditioning
it's
is.
so, I mean, to me,
Yes,
yeah,
they are. Yeah, there are a lot of horse because they're very intelligent.
absolutely, yeah,
They're
yeah,
thinkers. They can think. They can, and but that can work for you, right?
exactly,
And
yeah,
but people are like, okay, no, I don't want to
yeah,
deal with that. I just want to deal with the athletic
yeah,
part of them. So I'll put them in the mold and
yeah,
condition, condition, condition. You're killing the spirit.
absolutely. And when you
That's all you're
said
doing.
earlier about the difference between the on the ground relationship and in the saddle, well, that's the latest thing. Actually, it's so synchronistic that you said that because we've been working on that on a deep energetic level. And
Hmm.
what it felt like in this session that we did was that the horse's self, like their being, has been really pushed down and pushed down for
Yeah.
for centuries of the time that we've had with horses. So that's why it feels so different to be on them. And it doesn't kind of travel through to being on the saddle or on the horse. So yeah, so that's been our focus. And it's been really amazing, like feeling them come through all kind of mostly, it's all on the energy level that we're working really because I do get on her. She invites me on her, but at the moment we do
Hmm.
mostly meditative sitting. We're just
Yeah.
doing this, feeling her self coming up and up, and I think we're gonna get to the point.
Do you walk around or?
She walks me. We don't use any.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
yes.
no equipment at all. And she's not been
Good.
trained. She hasn't had conventional training. I did get to the point with her. I kept reaching these ceilings with her. And I'd made a little bit like you, I'd made this commitment that I was not going to force her. So we started doing traditional lunging and then she reached a ceiling. She couldn't move herself properly like that. So we stopped doing that. And then then one day I thought, well, I'll just get on you and walk you round with the saddle and she's never had a bit
Hmm.
in her mouth. But then even that, I just sort of stopped then because then she didn't want to go back to the arena. And then at a certain point, they all told me we want to work without any equipment because you have to have no means of control. no means. Like you can't do anything.
Mm.
And then I realized that it's not even about training. It's not even about me suggesting anything. Our next step now is that, and this is what she told me, this is what they've been telling me just very recently in the last week, or maybe it was like yesterday I heard this, that you ask us now, we'll show you what this is about. So yeah, so it's quite, yeah. And
Fantastic.
it's quite a big deal, I think. I
Wow.
think, when you were saying that, people are very, oh, I don't know what the word is, like kind of reluctant to do this. I feel that it comes down to control, that, and it's fear based, because
Fear.
everything, even our relationship on the ground, we want to have it under control. So that's why a lot of the time we have to have a head collar on the horse, or we have to have them in a stall, or we have to even patting them to keep that control, like, so you know where they are. And so this is what they've been
Yeah.
doing with me. Like they're stripping off all of the layers of needing to control and need.
That's
So like this big,
fantastic.
I mean, she's 17 hands. She's never done any riding work, like any riding. She's
Wow.
completely, a total free spirit. She's never really, we did sure when they were younger, they were in a stable to be fed, but then we stopped feeding, we stopped
Mhm.
stabling. So there's nothing, she's completely free all the time. And then she
Yay.
comes and she says, okay, you can get on me now. And it feels amazing. It feels safe. And we've walked with the herd. She's never trotted, but I don't not have any idea where it's all gonna go or what's gonna happen. But it's like you say, it's utter trust. I mean, it's utter. It has to be utter
Yeah.
trust because she could,
Isn't it beautiful?
yeah, and she could do anything. She could do anything. So that's why I feel I'm totally not at the stage of saying to anyone that this is like how you do it, because I don't know what I'm doing. Like I have no idea what we're doing, and I don't know where it'll go. And I wouldn't say to anyone to do that
Uh-huh.
because it's, you know, a lot of people would think it's dangerous. And there's that little voice in me that says, you're a little bit crazy doing this, but it just feels like the journey, and that's why I love talking to
She won't
people
hurt
like
you.
you, because it's all
Yeah.
part of that journey of, yeah, just like,
She won't hurt you.
yeah.
Uh, I think she's there because she knows
Mm,
that you're on this journey, and she wants to help and show you and prove it to you.
yeah.
One of the things I would do in lessons like that too is the same thing on the horse, meditating, eyes closed, and I've done it a lot
Mm,
myself.
yeah.
And then just breathing and feeling that my body is part of
Yeah.
hers. We're meshed.
Yeah.
So we're like, the mythical creature that has horse
Oh,
legs, and
yes.
and and
Yeah.
and you
The
become that.
centaur. Yeah.
And then I would just, with my intention, walk. No muscles in my body
Mm,
moved. I would just ask to walk
wow.
forward. And there's something very, very um, subtle that happens in your
Mm,
body. And when you think that, and then even if you just think of going right, and it
mm,
can be as little as just a very slight, nothing, no legs, no,
yeah.
just do it.
Yeah.
You'll see your horse go right.
Yeah.
You stop your seat.
Mm,
It's such a beautiful, beautiful
yeah.
connection. And I think that's what people need to get back, because funny enough, that's what people want.
It's so true. It really is.
The people I talk to
They
that
do.
want me to work with their horse and all that, that's what they
Yeah,
want.
they do. They really do.
They don't want to have to pull and yank and bit and this and that. They want to be
Yeah.
able to just do it that way.
Yeah.
I like you, have put myself in positions where I would go, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I was on my mare in a field, and we're talking, it was like 20 somewhat acres. No halter, no
Yeah.
nothing. And I'm doing a photo shoot.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, this is a little crazy, because if we go, I'm just going with her.
Yeah.
If she decides to book it and we're
Yeah.
done, I'm at her mercy. But then I said, hold on, we're doing this together.
Yeah.
So I say to her, this is what we're doing. Okay. We're just standing still. This is what we're doing.
Mm.
it won't last long. And when you're ready to go, let me know. She never booked it.
No.
I have the coolest photos,
Wow.
you know,
Yeah.
of being completely free and safe, knowing that I'm not in a paddock. I'm not in an enclosure. I'm
Exact.
at large. But our brain has and it's not just submission. It's not just
No,
giving
no.
into, okay, do whatever. I'm at your mercy. No, it's really an understanding. Even if I don't have any physical tools to hold you back, I trust that you and I have an understanding.
Do you know what it feels like?
So,
I think what it feels like to me in a way is the difference between like when you first let go of that control because you've had it in a sort of an imposing dominant way. It feels a little bit like going downhill, out of control, like say on a bike or something where but then what the horse does for you is they start to take you uphill and they're like asking you to follow them. So you're not out of control because like you say you're doing it together and they are supporting you. And I think that's what I feel we really don't realize yet. The difference with when they've asked you and invited you to be on their back and they're willing, they hold you on. Like
yes.
they hold you into them. And like you say, you merge with them. And you're like, there's just a completely different dynamic. And you just don't feel that at all. When you've imposed yourself on them, it's a completely different feeling. And in a way, you're magnetically held on when
Hmm.
they're because they can. I think we don't realize they are choosing to keep to have us on or have us off. And I think when they're obliged,
Hmm.
yeah, they'll like put up with us, but they're not going to hold us on if something happens. But if they're not obliged and if we've
No.
asked and if we're welcome, then they're actually keeping us there. There's something about it
And
energetically.
I think that's why it's important. Right. And I think it's important to establish some trust and respect on the
Yeah,
ground before we go up there.
absolutely.
Because if it's established on the ground, then you carry that trust and that respect onto
Yeah,
their back.
absolutely.
They're vulnerable too
Mm,
when we're on their
yeah.
back. So, but if we trust each other and respect each other,
Mm,
I never tie up my horses.
no, no.
Never. And I don't have to. If they walk away, they're telling me something. I go, okay,
Yeah,
we'll see you
yeah.
later. I never tie them up.
Mm,
And again, people say, oh, teach me how to do that.
yeah.
I would, one incident was funny. I had my mare all tacked up, ready to go, treeless saddle and bitless bridle, but I had to go back into the house, go to the bathroom real quick.
Mm,
So she's outside the door of my
yeah.
house and just standing there, not tied up. And I ran in and came back out. She never budged.
No.
And my student said, how? I'm like, where's she going to go?
Yeah,
She can run back to her herd if she wants to,
mm,
but she doesn't, she wants to be with me.
that's beautiful.
Not because I'm miraculous and extraordinary, because I took the time to learn her world
Absolutely.
and to be in her
Mm,
world. And I
that's
think
amazing.
that's a big thing. We need to learn to be in their world
Yeah,
and stop bringing them into our world.
that's absolutely.
And they're very
Yeah,
willing to show us their world. And that's a fun thing that you can do in meditation. I would do that. I'd say, show me your
yes,
world.
yeah,
She would walk around, pick at a plant here,
yeah,
say hi to another horse. I just, show me your world.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fun.
It is. It just, yeah,
It's
it
really fun.
opens up a whole dimension, doesn't it? You do.
It
And it
does.
feels almost like the
It does.
less you try to hold them into a place, on any level, the more space you give them, like you say, the less they try to escape because there's nothing to escape, like you say. It's a complete turnaround in the energy. And I think that's just something that I think the more that it happens, the more people who are working with this and understanding it, it is becoming something in the horse collective that's there. So it'll just like reach this tipping point and it'll just start happening. And people maybe won't even know that they're doing it, but they're just starting to do it. And yeah.
Yes. There are changes happening. Even FEI, when they
Mm,
decided to accept bitless
yes,
riding,
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
huge. That is
It really is
huge.
compared to,
Dr. Cook, who is one of the notorious inventors of a
yeah.
bitless bridle, I was in conversation with him, and he had been trying to do that for a very long time,
Yeah.
right? So it's a
It
big step.
is. And
It's
yeah. And
fantastic.
then when people are showing what can be done with that, and, it'll just chip away and it's just, yeah, it's an amazing.
That reminds me of, we were talking of Hanoverians, and
Yeah.
one of my clients in Quebec, beautiful Hanoverian boy,
Mm,
imported from Germany, just a stunning, but he ended up being a school
yeah.
horse. And she got the horse, and I she showed me photos of him being used as a school
Okay.
horse, and it was really bad. It was
Mm,
quite bad. So, sweetest temperament in the world, wanting to give her the world,
yeah.
really. So I flew all the way to Quebec to go
Wow.
spend a weekend with
Mm,
them and see, and what are we doing?
yeah.
I had her riding bitless.
Mm,
Of course, it's not something you do right away, and I'm on the ground and I'm with her and
yeah.
holding, and but let go of, the whole process was just so much fun. And
Mm,
he's a big boy. He was like 17 hands, if I remember correctly. He's a big, tall, beautiful boy. And we're going around, and then next thing you know, she's going around the arena doing small jumps. The horse's whole conformation
yeah.
changed. He could use his body like he had never been allowed
Mm,
to. He's a powerful boy and a very loving. She never felt unsafe. Never.
no.
And then at some point later on, we kept in touch, and she was telling me she was doing a little local
Mm.
competition. And she's jumping, and everybody's looking at the horse and going, wow.
Yeah.
And then one lady in the audience said, he's bitless. Like, oh my
Absolutely
God,
shocked.
she's going to get
Yeah.
hurt. And people are like, and I'm like, yes, lead by
Yeah.
example. She did dressage tests. And my dressage students, I tell them, because not everybody accepts bitless. So there are rules when you go into the competition.
Yeah,
And
it's true.
I go, okay, so what do you want out of this
Mm,
competition? Do you want a ribbon, or do you just enjoy doing dressage and are good at it,
yeah.
and you and your horse are a good team at it? If that's the case, ask if you can do the competition
Mm.
bitless, and don't get your
Yeah.
score, or don't
Yeah.
get graded, or don't
Doesn't
get a
matter.
ribbon, but do it.
Yeah.
And that's what some of my students have
That's
been doing.
great. Yeah.
And of course, they show beautifully
Yeah.
because the horse has access to its whole body without
Yeah.
restraint, right? But they're treeless and bitless, and they ask to be like a bit like a demonstration, if you wish. And they
Yeah.
do the whole dressage exam,
Wouldn't
and
it be
there you
beautiful?
go. And they're happy.
Yeah, it's so different. But if it could be, I mean, I always think what would be lovely is just to have exhibition, not even like a competition at all. Just like, look, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. And then it just takes all that. You don't have to fit them into this routine or, just like, just
Yeah.
enjoying the relationships.
But I find there's a good purpose to competitions. If there are people like yourself that are willing to go,
Yeah,
not qualify, but do it,
yeah, yeah,
so that you're leading by example. And
yeah,
that's what the
it's
horses
true.
have always been telling me. Lead by example.
Yeah, it's so,
You will plant a seed here and a plant a seed there, and someone's going to go, that resonates with me. Absolutely. The next thing you know, you'll have a whole bunch of people wanting to do it without a bit.
yeah, so true. It is true. I don't know. I don't know if personally I'll ever go back to competition. I can't imagine it, but
Yeah, no, it's a funny world. Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you.
I remember the last time I was in a dressage in a collecting. It was when I was in a collecting ring and in Holyrood in Edinburgh, and I was riding mare who I trained her myself and everything, but she was really, but she was very anxious and she wasn't happy. And I realized just trotting around, I was like, we're not ready for this. And I'm not happy. I'm not enjoying this. And you know what? I don't have to do this. And I'm not going to come back to a competition until I feel happy. And so I get that must be like 30, 20, 25 years ago. And yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen now. But I
Wow.
do think that I think that the people who are doing it, like you say, it's amazing. Yeah, definitely. Because it's,
But how empowering was that for
oh,
you?
yeah, amazing. I mean that kind of
Right.
changed everything, everything. It was like one
Yeah.
of the first I can do what feels good to me and I don't have to be, I don't have to follow the rules. And yeah.
Do you remember if your relationship with your horse changed after that?
Ooh, trying to remember what happened actually with her. I think it must have done. Um, I really started to go down that whole road of, listening and just being much more aware. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And discovering different kind of people at the time who were more, just more awakened, I suppose, about it. Trying to remember the name of it.
Because that's pivotal.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. And it's been just a whole growth curve that's just kind of kept little, there have been little, because I remember, like you said, I remember the first day a horse told me, and I've still got her in the herd actually. She said, "No, I don't want you to get on my back." And the first time I heard that, it just was like, oh my God, I was literally on a high for 3 days because I'd heard it and because I listened. And you would think, my God, that's crazy. But it just was so huge. And yeah.
Yes.
And then obviously the time that Caramba said she wanted me to get on her back, that was like amazing as well. But yeah, but
Yes.
it felt like so familiar. It felt like this isn't something, it didn't ever feel, it's never felt with her like it was something, what's the word? Like strange. It's always felt really natural and really familiar and really
Yes.
right. So I think that's something that would really help people as well when they do that, because it is natural and right. I mean, it's nature, isn't it? Like you were
Yes.
saying
It
earlier, it's
is.
it's nature and it's in all of us.
Mhm. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It is. And we always get the teachers. Um, I've had horses come in as teachers for just a snippet, like the first one that
yeah,
spoke to me and I did not purchase.
yes,
Sometimes we have them come in just to teach something quick and they move on. But,
yeah,
like your
yeah.
mare at the competition where you said, no, we're not doing this. She was letting you know this is not,
This isn't it. Yeah, you
this is,
don't need
yeah.
to.
So that was her role.
Yeah,
She gave you a pivotal moment that set you on a track, right?
yeah. It's amazing, our teachers. Yeah,
Hmm.
wonderful. So, are you making, what's your latest kind of discovery, would you say? What's your latest light?
Um, I think I get little snippets now here and there all the time.
Mm,
Like yesterday, having a horse look at me and knowing, okay,
yeah,
so it becomes second nature and I love it. I love it. I no longer worry about what people are going to think that I'm the crazy horse girl or whatever.
yeah,
And my thoughts are like, where does she come? Not anymore. My students had asked me to write it all down a few years ago. And they said, if you go, where's this technique going to go?
yeah,
I do have instructors. I have trained instructors, but um, I think everybody is their own horse trainer. So need, you need to learn the
yeah,
technique and it's simple. It's very simple. It's
yeah,
not, it's hard. The concept is simple. The difficulty is in training our
yeah,
brains and
yeah,
believing in it. That's why I'm always open to Somebody buys a book and reads it and wants to question, ask, or
Yeah.
yes, please do. I don't charge for that. I'll just
Yeah.
answer as many emails as I can. I'll do as much as I
So
can
what would you say the
because they took
concept is, just to kind of encourage people to look at your book and to go further? What's
everything we talked about for.
yeah. But when you
I
call it a
think if
technique, what does that mean? Like a
it's
methodology?
it's it's a method.
Yeah.
It's a method. It's understanding what makes sense to the
Yeah.
horse. So I have ground exercise. There are
Yeah.
6 ground
Okay.
exercises where what we're doing is we're telling the horse, I understand, I understand you.
Okay.
I understand what your herd is about, how you live every day,
Mm,
what's important to
okay.
you, and and I'll show you. So what's important to them, the number one thing is a leader.
Mm,
And so if when I interact with the horse, I have to take that
mm,
position. That's wrong. I cannot take that
yeah.
position. I can show them that I have the
Mm,
qualities to be the leader they need,
okay.
not the one that I decide is right for
Yeah.
them. What is the leader that they need
Okay.
in horse? And I think that's very much misunderstood.
Mm, yeah.
What does a leader do? And why are they the
Mm,
leader? Sometimes they don't even have a choice. They have to take up leadership. So, and that's where the whole horse psychology and behavior came in. And that's where the horses helped me and
mm,
channeled what I could do and what was important to them.
yeah.
And so the 6 exercises are based on that, on taking each other's space and boundaries, food,
Yeah.
picking up
Yeah.
feet. Horses don't give you don't hold back on giving you their feet because they're stubborn or whatever. People don't understand the whole reason why a horse doesn't give you his foot.
Mm,
It's all based on trust. So on the ground, that's where I can show them.
mm, yeah.
I'd like you to see me as your leader so that when I'm on your back, you'll feel safe and you'll trust me when I say, we're going this way, not this
Yeah.
way. But I have to earn
Yeah.
that. I can't dictate it. I can't train it into them. I have to earn it. And, and that's what I do in the book.
Mm,
That's what I do. I explain why, because I'm like that. If you tell me this is how it's done, I want to know
yeah.
why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't just tell me
Well,
to do it. I
exactly.
want to know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
So that's how I teach, is because that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
So I find out the why,
Yeah.
and then and when I come up with exercises or ways of doing things that mimics what they do all day with each other,
Yeah.
I always ran it by them. What's this? What's that? How does this work? Is this okay? I try it on them.
Yeah.
And I swear they were constantly channeling me, constantly.
Mm,
It's like I was in a different
wow.
world, in a bubble where
Yeah.
they were with me.
Showing
And they
you.
were, because people say, how did you come up with that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was out there with them and we're chatting and I observe and
Yeah.
I didn't try to, it wasn't like it was academic
No,
or,
they were you were
it was
absorbing it.
honestly, they were telling
Yeah.
me, they told me.
Yeah.
That's why I trusted,
That's amazing.
right?
Yeah.
So if anybody would like to understand
Yeah.
why horses do what they do, understand how can we be in their world,
Mm.
then grab the book.
Yeah.
It explains
Okay. Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah. But it is a beautiful, magical world. And I'm hoping, like you, that there'll be more and more and more people
Mm.
wanting to explore this fantastic
Yeah.
relationship that we all have the opportunity to have. We
Absolutely.
all have it.
Yeah.
I know there's nothing magical or talented or special about it. We can all
Yeah.
go into that
Absolutely.
world,
We really can.
right? And it's a little step at a time. You don't have to right away ditch the bridle, ditch this, ditch that. No, you don't have to.
I
You
think
know,
that's the thing.
horses
Yeah, it
understand.
goes kind of both ways, doesn't it? Like the trust. We have to be able to trust too our environment. So if we
Yes,
can't trust what's going
hmm
on, then we can't let go of things and we can't be
exactly.
defenseless. So yeah, it's a two-way process, really.
And I remember being, whether it was on the ground or on my horse, and really trying to practice these skills,
Mm.
and I'd revert to an old way.
Yeah.
But I'd stop and I'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Mm.
And I say it and I feel it. And they turn around and look at me
It's
and
okay. We
cuddle me.
understand. Yeah,
They
they
do.
do.
They
They're
do.
amazing.
The fact that you want to make, so for anybody out there that says, oh, okay, I want to do this, but I don't know, it's okay.
Mm.
The fact that you want to
Yeah.
make a change, that you want to be different and
Mm.
do this properly and do it the way the horses would like us to be,
Mm.
that intention goes a long
So true. That's one.
way.
Thank you so much, Barbara. It's
Mhm.
been lovely talking to you.
It's been great
Yeah.
chatting with you. Thanks for inviting
No, you're
me
welcome.
and giving me the opportunity to.
Yeah. 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 I think just talking about it like this is really helpful for people as well. They can get inspired that things are possible. There's hope. Because I
Yes.
think a lot of people have
Yeah.
kind of given up on riding because the riding that they were experiencing just
Hmm.
doesn't, it's not the feeling that they want. But I don't think it has to be quite
Yes.
that, quite that much of a cut off. I think there's a middle ground
For sure.
happening.
I agree with you.
Yeah.